Welcome to the Inspiration from the Conversation podcast. It's here where I hope you'll find inspiration. Hi, I'm Jeff, the host, and this is episode 1, Brooklyn Roots. Hey, welcome back. If you have comments, suggestions, or questions, hit me up at ksbyjeff@gmail.com. That's ksbyjeff@gmail.com. I will be focusing on my Brooklyn roots. I was born in Brooklyn in 1961. Born in a hospital, Coney Island Hospital in Kings County. And once I left the hospital, I was raised in Sheepshead Bay Housing Project on 2955 Avenue X in Nostrand, Apartment 2B. The schools I attended were PS 286, Shellbank, and Sheepshead Bay High School. I went to Sheepshead Bay High School for 1 year, and in 1977, my mother and I moved to North Carolina. My father had passed, he had died. He had a massive stroke, and this was in 1975. But the plan was my mother and my father and myself, we were to move back to North Carolina. My father was ready to leave Brooklyn. His plan was to open up a bar once he got here. But he didn't make it. So we made the trek, and we moved back to North Carolina. And the move to North Carolina, although it was good, it was hard on me. And I was leaving a few friends. The ones that I had were friends. But most importantly, I was leaving a girlfriend. I can say that she was my first crush. And it was hard. And my mother knew that, it was hard for me. But, what can I do? Not a whole lot, other than just roll on. It wasn't like I could, live on my own. But the move was good because I got the opportunity to be introduced to cousins and, a lot of cousins and some friends, or people that I eventually hung out with. And I didn't have very many, but I can honestly say they became friends. But it was here that I was able to kind of slow down and kind of enjoy life, really. Things kind of slow for me, whereas in Brooklyn, things were just kind of running by. And don't get me wrong, I was living in the moment there just like I was living in the moment here. But things here were at a slower pace. And I always would contribute the slow pace as to living longer. You know, you leave the hustle and the bustle, and you're able to kind of slow down, and you're able to kind of think about things and before you do things. And I enjoyed that. What I didn't enjoy was most of the places, either you had to walk, you had to take a bus, and not many bus routes were available, back in the 70s or mid 70s. Or, you got your parents, in my case, my mother would drive me different places. And I didn't like that part, whereas in the city, it seemed like the city never slept, and I could go different places. I had access to the bus, the train. I could ride my bike or I could walk. But even still, the move here to North Carolina was really good for me. It really was. So I went to Northern Nash High School, and I had a little bit of a trouble because I have to admit that I was not a good student in school, and a lot of it was I just would not take the time to study. But it caught up with me once I left Brooklyn and come here to North Carolina. So after getting into high school here, I found out that because I needed some credits, they were saying that I was going to have to be held back. And I was like, no, I got to, whatever it is I got to do, I'm going to do. And so I took a couple of night classes, and I took some correspondence classes, and then I did my regular classes, and I worked that out and went through, and I was able to get through high school. And it's funny because I like to say that because there was 500 students in my graduating class, and I think it was probably about that, maybe a little more, not many more, but I think it was under 5. I always joke, that out of 500 students, I was number 498. But the thing is that I graduated. That's the most important thing. I graduated. And my mother was proud of me. I was proud of me that I set my goal to graduate on time, and I was able to graduate on time. And that was nothing but truly a blessing from the man upstairs. And but anyway, so I was like, I need to try to figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. At the time, since I had come to North Carolina during the early years, I wasn't dating anybody. I was just, kind of doing my thing. Figured that at some point, I would find somebody. Although that proved to be kind of difficult for a little while. I was, and I think some of it was, I was a little heavy. Although I didn't feel like I was heavy, but I was a little heavy. I mean, I played basketball. I was, fairly decent in basketball. I could hold my own. But, I thought I dressed okay, but I just did not have the onlookers that I thought I, would have. And it didn't bother me. It really didn't, because I was really kind of focusing on myself, and that's what I did. And although I had a lot of female friends, I wasn't trying to talk to anybody. I'm talking about in high school. Once I did get out of high school, I would have an occasional one or two that I would talk to, but nothing serious. And so anyway, I was just trying to figure out what I was going to do with the rest of my life. And I just really did not know what to do. But I started looking at a couple of things. And one thing that I kind of got interested in, because I always liked to, even when I was younger, I used to like to take things apart and call myself putting them back together. Sometimes I would get it back together, sometimes not. Sometimes I would have extra parts. I throw them in the trash can, and then only to go back in the trash can to get them again, because I needed them for something, for the thing that I had taken apart. But anyway, I had a cousin, and I come to find out that he was pretty good at, electronics and electrical stuff. And I saw the things that he would do, fix, work on. And it was an inspiration, really, for me to acquire those kinds of skills. And so I ended up going and applying for electronics engineering degree program at Nash Community College. And again, I said I wasn't the best student. So I had to take some remedial classes to get me prepared to take the classes that I needed to have in order to graduate. So I had started taking classes, and I had actually started working. When I had graduated high school, I found myself at Shoney's Big Boy. And this was on graduation night, as a matter of fact. And basically what happened was the manager, his name was Benny, he needed a busboy. And one of the guys that I was sitting with actually worked there. And Benny was trying to get him to work. And the guy that I was with, he was like, "Hey, this is my graduation night." He said, "I'm not going to work." And so Benny asked the couple of guys, including myself there, if anybody wanted a job. And I was like, "Yeah, I'll take a job. I'll need a job." And he said, "I need you right now," like that. And I was like, "Man, I really don't want to work. It's on my graduation night." And he said, "Well, that's that's the way it is. If you want the job, I need for you to start work now. So what I ended up doing was I started work. So I started work, and my salary was $1.90 an hour. That's what my salary was. And it was like, okay. So I started off as a busboy. And don't forget that I love to cook. I used to call myself cooking, when I lived in Brooklyn, in the kitchen. And then when we got here in North Carolina, I would cook a little bit. And a lot of it, I would watch what my mother was doing. And so I learned a lot from my mother. I learned I learned a lot on how she did things, how she cooked, like vegetables and meats and stuff like that there. How she fried a chicken and, fish, and, we would occasionally have a little pork. I don't eat pork now, but I don't eat any meat now other than fish and vegetables. But, and I love sweets too. But, it was just an eye opener. So, anyway, I was asked to, I was made a cook, and I did that for a little while. And my goal was to save up enough money so I could buy a car. And so I opened up a savings account, and I was living at home, of course. And so all I was doing was working and saving and going to school. And it was a struggle. That was a struggle, going to school part, because I was not the best student, of course. You guys already know that, because I told you that. I was not the best student, but I hung in there the best I could. And eventually I ended up, because my grades were so bad, I ended up leaving. And I just focused on, working and just, gathering money so that I could get my car. And I got enough for a down payment. I got enough to pay my first month's insurance. And my mother co-signed for me to get a car. I purchased that was a 79 Toyota Corolla. It was used, but it was new to me, and it was in very, very nice shape. And so I did that. And so I worked at Shoney's, and I was like, I need to, I need a little bit of a raise. And so I asked the manager for a raise, and he threw a telephone book down on the floor and told me to stand on it. He said, "That's your raise." And I was like, okay, I've got to make a move from here. And I knew Benny, which is the one that hired me there. He had left and he went to Wiener King. He was a store manager there. So I, after work, or it might have been on a day off, I don't really remember now, but I did go to see him, and I told him, hey, asked him if he was hiring and stuff, and he said, yeah, well, he said, well, hiring. He said, I'll hire you. And I'm trying to think what the pay there was. I think it was a little over $2. It might have been like $2.10 or something like that an hour. And it's funny because if they had just given me a quarter raise, I might would have stayed there. But anyway, so I made the move to Weena King. And Weena King, that was an experience. We had really good hot dogs. They were really, really good hot dogs. And then most of the people would come for the footlongs. But, and they had steak sandwiches and burgers and chicken patty sandwiches, fries, and onion rings and stuff like that there. But it was nice. It was a nice change. But I was still trying to figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of my life, because I know that the Weena King was a dead end for me. But anyway, so I really thought about the military, and I gave it some thought, and I talked to my mother and asked her what she thought, and she didn't try to sway me one way or the other. She basically left that up to me to make the decision if I wanted, if I was going to go in or not. And I did know that my father was in the Army Air Corps, so that was kind of inspiration for me as well, to know, well, my father was in the service. I said, I'll do service. I can do it. So I went and talked to the recruiter and made arrangements. But the recruiter told me that I had to lose some weight. So I'll come back, talk to my mother, and my mother said, well, okay, we'll fix it. We'll get you on a diet and stuff, and you need to do some exercises to lose weight. So that's what I did. And by this time, when I made the transition from Shoney's to Weena King, that was the restaurant. I don't know if I said that. Weena King, I had met this girl. Her name was Joanne, and we kind of talked. We won't boyfriend or girlfriend or anything like that, but we just talked, and just over the course of us working together, we started to become boyfriend and girlfriend. And she was also supportive of me going into the military. Yeah. And she became not only my girlfriend, she became my wife. I went into the military in 82. And in 83, we got married. And it was just, it was just the move here to North Carolina was really, really good for me. It really was. My life started out kind of slow, but I got to say that with everything that has happened in my life and will continue to happen as long as I'm living, everything was good. When I think back and I look back, on the different phases of my life. They were good. Um, I have definitely enjoyed my life, and I will, if I will continue to enjoy my life. It's a little hard because I'm whew, I'm old now. Well, even though I'm still younger than some folks, but I'm old. But it's just my life. It's been good, and I know I have nobody to thank, but God for those things in my life, for the people in my life. It's just really, I'm just really thankful. But I think I'm gonna have to leave it here, and I'm gonna have to end my podcast here. And again, I hope that you subscribe to my podcast. And please, if you have any comments, suggestions, or questions, please feel free to hit me up at ksbyjeff@gmail.com. That's ksbyjeff@gmail.com. And I'm going to leave it right there. I'll come back when I have more time. Talk to you soon.